Hey guys, it's me, Liv. I hope everyone's doing good out there. So today I decided I just wanted to play around a little bit with my gel plate and some acrylic and see what this will look like on rice paper. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is take out some acrylic paints. I just had some that I got really quickly over at my local craft store. So these aren't like fancy ones or anything because I'm really not one to use a lot of acrylic paint. And I'm going to go ahead and take out my brayer, go ahead and spread that acrylic over. Now, again, not going to say I'm anywhere close to being an expert in regards to this. So I'm just spreading it out, trying to get some of the color off before I mix in another color because I didn't want it to blend too much. I did want the variation of the colors. So always keep a scrap paper by you if you are using your brayer with your gel plate. It's very helpful. Then I'm going to go on to this dark blue color. Now again, I am using some plain rice paper that I had gotten recently from Hobby Lobby, and I felt like that blue just didn't come out dark enough, or I got too much of it off. So now I'm just going to blend it a little bit more and blend it up and put some off to the side as well. And I just keep doing the same mistake over and over again because, again, I am not an expert with the gel plate and acrylics. So once I have that all set, I'm going to go ahead and press down my rice paper to see what it looks like. So the rice paper is really not, it's kind of hard to work with because it is like most rice paper, a little bit on the fragile side, and it does tend to wrinkle kind of easily, but that's okay. I was just looking really just to see how this could possibly work. Now it does come up really cool, nice deep color on it. So I decided now I wanted to put another layer of color on there because I felt like it just shouldn't get enough of the blue that I was looking for, but this time I wanted to be just a little bit more scattered. So I'm going to put this one blue on, and then one of the cool things about gel plates, if you haven't really used them a lot, is you can put stencils on them and you'll get the shape in there, as you're going to see here. When you lift, it'll lift up the paint with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and tap that down. This is a stencil from Stamplerations, and it is called Bubble Dance if you're interested in it. It is a 5x7 size stencil. So I'm going to lift it, and then you can see that. So I'm going to put that to the side, and I am going to then actually, since I have this extra, sometimes I find that the XX paint that I have on the side, what I'm using with my brayer, comes out really cool, and I can use that for another project. So I don't always necessarily use it, but sometimes I do to see. Now that didn't really work the way I thought it would be, so I figured let me just take off any excess paint I have here and roll it through the stencil and see if I get any type of color variation on the side. And you can see how some of the circles came through. I thought that was kind of cool. So then focus back on my main project that I was here to do, and take a little bit of doily to lift up a little bit more plates to leave more implants here. You've seen people do this with stamps. Anything that kind of has a pattern will show through and lift it up. And then I'm just going to put it in random spots. There's no rhyme or reason to where I'm putting it. Just wanted it more along the edges more for this project. So then I made a boo-boo here because I realized that did not give my paint a long enough time to dry on my gel plate, so it actually ended up lifting up instead of the white staying on top of it as a layer. So as I realized I was making a big mistake, I said, you know what, I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to work with what I got, and let me see if I can at least lift part of what I had there without putting any wet acrylic paint on, to try to get the whole print to come up a little bit better. So let's see what we get. This is what's so cool about the gel plate. You never know exactly what you're going to get. And so I lifted up, and it didn't work. Okay, so plan B. I'm actually going to put white paint down. I did not take a lot of that paint off that was on my original brayer, so this is actually going to become a very light blue here onto the plate, which is perfectly fine. I really don't mind because the paper color on the rice paper is now a pretty dark blue. So I did want to go ahead. Then I'm going to make sure that I use my brayer to lift up more of the color and make sure that it's nicely firmly pressed down. and pull it up. So hopefully you guys can see that on camera because it's super light. Then I'm going to just go ahead and take some of my rice paper out again. Oops, I made my doily. I'm just going to go ahead and do that same exact technique that you saw me do earlier of just blotting it with the doily pattern. And then finally, let's see what this is going to look like on my rice paper. So let's just make sure it's even. Do a good pressure. You can just use your hands, don't need to use the brayer, but you can use the brayer if you want to. Try to get a better lift of everything that's there. So once I've got that nice and pressed down, and now it's time for the big reveal. Let's see how that worked. So I'm slowly trying to lift this up because, like I mentioned before, that rice paper is pretty fragile. I have a little boo-boos in the middle as well of some paint that just did not seem to want to lift up. But at this point, I just figured it's time to just roll with what I got. And isn't that cool? I really love the way this came out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do play around with your gel plates if you have one, as well as your stencils and paints. You're gonna make mistakes, but that's how we learn. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Have a great night.